Good morning to everyone. Wow, it's been an amazing 24 hours. Yesterday I came on here. I was pretty sad. It was after we witnessed 10 people get killed in a ballistic missile from Iran sent indiscriminately towards civilian areas in center Israel. And we weren't sure where we were going from there. But in the last 24 hours, there's been so many amazing things that have happened. Firstly, Israel keeps on limiting more and more of the ballistic missiles from Iran because we are in full control over all the airspace over Iran. And the Israeli IAF hovers there. When they see the Iranians trying to get their launchers out, they bomb them. And the thing is that they don't have many launchers left. So if you watch, the ballistic missiles coming from Iran have become more erratic and more sporadic. Just like the terror group of Hamas and Hezbollah, when they're desperate, they try to send a few constantly just to be fear-mongering on the citizens and to get into our heads. And then what they hope is that we will be scared. But ultimately, it's getting less, and God willing, we'll finish soon. The other amazing thing that's happened is that finally, the President of the United States, President Trump, has spoken clearly and unequivocally that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon and is getting ready with many ways to help Israel bomb the Fordo. We don't know what's going to happen, but that's the most important thing, that nuclear site. And to be honest, the woke right, the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens and comedian David Smith, all these horrific bigots and anti-Semites have been very scary towards us as Jewish people and towards the future of our country. They're as bad, if not worse, than the AOCs in the world. And Trump is clearly making a divide from them. And in unequivocal ways, he attacked Tucker Carlson and others. And to me, that's very important because we have to get rid of the anti-Semites on both sides. There's a joke going around in Israel that the Mossad, that Iranians said that they send a missile towards the Mossad, but nobody got hurt because all the Mossad agents are in Iran. And it's a joke, but it's pretty true. And it's pretty miraculous to understand what's going on in the last 24 hours. Israel is literally in full control of a country more than 10 times its size, of a people 10 times its size. And of course, the Iranian people, we pray and we think about them the whole time because we know that many of them don't want this, and they were under the Ayatollah regime. And we're hoping there will be a time when we will all be able to prosper, and we will all be able to be neighbors and friends, and we will have a new horizon on the Middle East, and the Abraham Accords will spread and be contagious, and we can work together towards developing technology and developing the Middle East in a way of love and harmony. And that's our ultimate hope. But to watch what's happening is remarkable. And it's interesting because this week, as I told you, we read the story of the spies that went to Israel, and they come back after all that God has done to them. And they say, no, we can't go into the land, and the neighbors are too mighty. And God's shocked. God had done so many miracles for you. He split the sea, and he took us out of Egypt, and we got the Torah. And this is the response, that you're questioning God's way? God didn't tell you to see if we could conquer the land. He said to figure out the best way to do it. Not if, but how. And Caleb, there were two spies that stayed truthful to their mission, Caleb and Joshua. But they didn't want to let Joshua speak because they knew he was Moses' trusted spy. So Caleb does something remarkable. He gets up, and Caleb says, you think that's all that Moses did that's bad? You know what else he did? And they all stop to hear maybe he's going to continue their bombardment of Moses and say they can't go into Israel. And Caleb says, not only did he do that, but he split the sea for us. He converted Pharaoh for us. He took us to get the Torah. He got us the manna and the well of Miriam. Basically silencing their ridiculous claims by the miracles Moses did. In a certain way, I think about the days we're living in. Biblical proportions, miraculous times. We're watching in front of our own eyes the entire changing of the Middle East, not just for Israel, for America. Russia's retreating from the Middle East. Iran is backing up. It's good for America. As Bibi Netanyahu said so remarkably yesterday in his interview with ABC News, when they said, what do you say to those that say America first? And he said, first they come for Tel Aviv, then they come for New York. He says, I understand America first, but not America dead. And then in the first time in the history, the Prime Minister of Israel went on the Iranian opposition TV. And he said something so remarkable. He said, over 2,000 years ago, your King Cyrus of Persia saved the Jewish people and brought them back to Israel. And now it's our turn to repay that. And I thought about those words. Literally, when you talk about biblical proportions, you talk about miracles. We're living through history. Embrace it. Do another mitzvah. Wrap tefillin, light Shabbos candles, study Torah, give charity, encourage your friends, be strong. These are times where our new horizon is about to dawn. But I want to tell you something. You know, we have a group, it was called the Chabad Men's Group, and now it became the CNN, Chabad News Network. And we have 75 people on it. It's not a private group. Everyone who's joining is welcome. But yesterday I posted a video there about a bunch of people in Givaat Zev dancing just right after the bombs came toward them. And I didn't know the backstory, but it was just amazing. There were ballistic missiles that landed, and they were dancing. And then I found out the backstory. There was this couple who lived in Givaat Zev. This is the most remarkable story and tells us the spirit of our people. They were supposed to get married on Sunday night. The war breaks out, and they know they can't get a hall anymore. They had planned a wedding with hundreds of people. It was going to be this remarkable wedding, and suddenly they can't have the wedding. So they send out a notice to all their friends. Listen, we know the hall's not going to be available. We can't have the wedding there, but we don't want to postpone our wedding. So we're inviting you all to the front complex in front of our building, and we're going to do the wedding there. It'll be what it'll be, but we want to get married. We'll get the minyan, we'll get the rabbi, we'll say the blessings, we'll get married. Suddenly, there's a response. This one says, wait, I'm going to cook the desserts. I'm going to bake the desserts. I'm going to cook food. The next one says, I'm a musician. I'm going to play the violin. Someone else says, I do drums. I do piano. The other one says, I do flowers. We're going to do it. The whole community came together to set it up and to get this wedding ready. Sunday comes and everything is ready. The bride is in her gown already. And suddenly the sirens go off at 4:32. 4:03 or 4:30, I don't remember the exact time, the sirens go off and they're all run to the bomb shelter where they have to stay till 7:32. 7:32. And at 7:32 they emerge from the bomb shelters, and that's the video I had shared of them dancing at her wedding. The couple got married. The entire people, after a ballistic missile hit, went out to celebrate bringing a new Jewish family. That's the story of the Jewish people. That's the miracle of who we are. As Bibi Netanyahu said when he was on ABC yesterday, he says, we are even, you think about what the English people did during the bombardment of World War II and how heroic they are. But he says we're even greater because we're living under this constant thing for 2 years. And we have a war with 7 countries, 7 fronts. And yet the people of Israel don't complain. Even through their pain, they're celebrating. They're heroic. They're caring for each other. And then to see the wedding that they pulled off after being in the bomb shelter for 3 hours for this couple in Givaat Zev. Micham Chakisol, who's like our nation? Friends, remember what Caleb said when he quieted the spies. Vayas Caleb, he quieted them and he says, are you kidding me? He says, do you forget what else Moses did for us? He confronted Pharaoh. He took us out of Egypt. He split the sea. He brought us to Mount Sinai. We received the Torah. We got the manna. We got the well of Miriam and the clouds. How could we forget that? And that's my message to each and every one of us. How could we forget the miracles that God is doing for us? The miraculous things we are witnessing. Let's strengthen ourselves. Let's do more Torah mitzvahs. Let's be strengthened by this remarkable couple and the faith they showed and the celebration they had and the unity they brought together with their people. I'll post a video here so you can see it. But Am Yisrael Chai, and have a great day.